Hello everyone, it's Becca from Becca Books and Bujo, and today I am sharing all of the books that I read in the month of February. Alright everyone, I read 10 books in February, which I'm very proud of. February is the shortest month, but that's probably the most books I've read in 1 month in a long time, so I'm very happy with that. Let's just jump right into the books that I read. The first was Maisie Dobbs by Jacqueline Winspear. This one was to fulfill a prompt for my deck of TBR game, and didn't like this one as much as I hoped I would. I really like the Chief Inspector Armand Gamache series, which is kind of just like a cozy mystery, and I thought that this would be similar, but I just could not get into it as much as I wanted to. I started this one back in like May or June of last year and stopped reading it because I was in a major slump, but then picked it up again in February, and listening to it helped a lot, but I still couldn't get into it. Basically, Maisie is helping solve, at first, she is helping a man figure out why his wife is going to this kind of deserted town outside of London, and she figures that out, but along the way there's another mystery along with that, and it just was really slow and didn't keep me intrigued like a mystery should, I guess. And so I ended up giving it a 2, which I am so sad about, but I do not think I will be reading more of this series. I know so many people who love it, but I just couldn't do it. So a 2 for Maisie Dobbs. The next one I read in February was The Vacationers by Emma Straub. This one was my lowest rated on Goodreads, that I had to read for my deck of TBR, and I understand why it's the lowest rated. It's not super great, but it was kind of intriguing, I guess. This one is about a family that goes vacationing in Mallorca and find out some secrets along the way about their lives, and the secrets were kind of predictable, and how the family responded, I feel like a normal family wouldn't respond to. So I don't know, it was maybe just too frou la-di-da. I don't know. Ultimately though, it kept me reading. I also listened to this one. I'm finding the audiobooks are really helping me get through books lately. But yeah, it was just okay. I gave it 3 stars. Okay, then this one is just kind of a goofball read. I had gotten this for my birthday like probably 7 or 8 years ago and never read it fully. And so one Sunday I just sat down and read Selp-Helf by Miranda Sings. This is just funny. I loved Miranda when I was in high school. I dressed up as Miranda. I did a little Miranda Sings action, and she just has some funny things. I enjoy her fashion tips, her tips on how to sing and how to be good looking, and she just is really funny. And the one thing I love is like she wanted you to buy 2 of these books so that you could keep one, perfect, and then so you could cut it up. Like she wanted you to cut these up. That's how you can make money, by just drawing money yourself. Anyway, funny things in this one. Again, just a funny read, and I did give it 5 stars, if you can really give it 5 stars, just because it made me laugh and made me happy. It was very enjoyable. Then I read The Reader by Bernhard Schlink, and wow, this one was so tough to get into because the beginning is really weird. It's like a 30 or 40-year-old woman seducing a 16-year-old boy, and it's really creepy, and I did not like that whatsoever. But then once you get into parts 2 and 3 of the story, you understand what's going on behind that relationship and why why this woman ends up taking in this this boy. But it ultimately is a World War II book. This woman here worked with the Nazis. I believe she worked at a camp and was being put on trial for killing a bunch of people in a church, I believe. And so she ended up being guilty for this crime, and we find out why she actually wasn't guilty of this crime, all dealing with reading, which is kind of interesting. So like I said, I was going to definitely not keep reading this book after part 1, but then I got into parts 2 and 3, and it actually ended up being a very good story. So I gave this one 4 stars, which I was definitely going to give it 1 or 2 stars after the first part, but ended up being okay. And it's a very old book. What's the publishing year? 1995. So as old as me, 27 years. And it's also a movie. And so I'd be interested to see if the movie is exciting or weird or creepy because this woman is seducing this boy. Anyway, maybe. I mean, another World War II book for you if you are interested in that. So the next one I read was My Favorite Half-Night Stand by Christina Lauren, and this one I read on a whim. I was wanting to listen to something fun, and whenever I want to get a break from reading some more serious books, I go to Scribd and listen to a romance. And Christina Lauren has been on my radar lately, and this one was really cute. It involves a woman who has basically 4 male friends and has always been friends with them, but she ends up starting to have feelings for one of her friends, and it turns into just casual sex, and that relationship starts to blossom into more feelings, but they feel like, whoa, I can't do that. All the while, there's this weird internet dating thing going on. They're all trying to find a date for a gala, a party of some sort. And they decide they'll all go on this social media, they'll all go on this online dating site to find a date for this gala. And the guys all make fun of her for her profile, and so she ends up making this fake profile and matches with the guy that she's having sex with, and he ends up having this online relationship with her. The one I gave 3 stars. It wasn't the best book in the world, but it kept my interest and it was fun to listen to. A good romance. The next book I read was The Fifth Season by N.K. Jemisin. This one was on my January TBR and I could not get through it in January. It just took me forever. So I finished it like midway through the month in February. And I'm sorry, everyone, I did not like this book. I just don't think that sci-fi fantasy is my genre. I kept picking them up in February for some reason and just didn't like them. It was a cool story, and the world that was created by N.K. Jemisin was neat, but I really was just kind of bored. I didn't understand it. I don't know. Again, I don't think I should read sci-fi fantasy novels because they are not for me. I don't think I will continue with this series. Sorry, N.K. Jemisin. I honestly have not liked a lot of things that they've written. What was that one? The City We Became? That one was weird too. I think it's just that genre I can't get into. So this one I gave 2 stars because I didn't want to not finish it. It was interesting and I wanted to know what was going on, but couldn't get into it. Wasn't excited by it by any means. Took me a long time to read and it just, no, not my favorite. So sorry to the people who really love it, but not for me. So then I listened to Binti by Nnedi Okorafor, and this is a short little novella, again, sci-fi, and it was a cool story. It's about Binti, who gets into this university, this prestigious university in the universe, and she has to leave her planet to go to it, and she actually runs away from her family to go to this university, but along the way on the spaceship it gets taken over, and there's this like clash between groups of people, and she's a peacemaker, so she ends up helping. It was a cool story, and I think I gave it 3 stars. Did I give it 3? Yeah, I gave it 3 stars just because it kept me intrigued for the 4-hour audiobook that it was. But again, I don't know why I kept picking up sci-fi or why I thought I should read these. These were all that both the 5th season and Binti I had seen on BookTube, and I just thought I should give them a try. And I'm glad I gave them a try, but I just really should stop reading sci-fi, is what I found. Then I read Before Ever After by Samantha Soto, and this is a romance time warping novel. This one, we have our main character, Shelley, and she is mourning the loss of her husband when this gentleman shows up at her doorstep who looks exactly like her husband, and they find out that her husband is actually this man who has spanned decades and decades, centuries of time. And so they go on this search to find him and learn his history along the way. And this one was good. I gave it 3 stars on Goodreads, but like 3.5 stars in my mind. It would have been 4 stars if it just was a little bit faster paced. I didn't want to pick it up and read it every single time or every single day. It took me longer than a book should have, in my opinion. But it was an interesting story and not like one that I'd read before. And I was very wrong in my TBR video for February that it was a Cinderella retelling. That's very wrong. I don't know why it's called Before Ever After. Oh, maybe I do. But that might give away the ending. Anyway, it was a cute romance, and makes you think about wanting to live forever and what that truly means, and how you would really be alone for all of your life if you lived forever. There was some good quotes from Before Ever After that I liked about time. One is, if we accept time for what it is, how it flows, and how we flow with it, I doubt very much that we would continue wasting loads of it by constantly checking our watches. And I really liked that because I feel like I'm always checking my phone or my watch for the time, and it's just like, quit doing that. Time flows as it does, and if we flow with it, things will happen. Another one was, the good news is that we woke up. Today is a new day, and I have decided to live it. I think that's so great. A fresh reminder, or not a fresh reminder, a good reminder that the good news is that you woke up today, which is a gift, always. And then the last one from Before Ever After that I really liked was, dying is not the real tragedy, forgetting is. And so for someone who has lived forever, and people who forget that person, that's more tragic. And it makes me think about like my grandma who suffers with dementia, or anybody who has Alzheimer's, and it's so sad because honestly them forgetting you is more sad than dying. Yeah, sorry, I'm getting way too deep here for my reading wrap up. Okay. Second to last book, I read Chasing Vermeer by Blue Balliet and illustrated by Brett Helquist. And this one I read for my middle grade March recommendation. Thanks to Krista from BooksAndJams for asking me to participate in her collab for that. I'll link that video down below if you're interested in seeing that. But I knew I wanted to recommend this one for middle grade March, but I wanted to make sure that it held up to my thoughts of it back in middle school when I read it. So I read it really quick on my Kindle, and it's a really good book, and I'm really excited to read it with my kids in the future. I just think it's really fun that you can like break codes along with the characters as you're reading. This one's about two middle schoolers, Petra and Calder, and they are trying to solve the mystery of a missing piece of artwork that was painted by Johannes Vermeer. And again, it's really fun. They use math and puzzles and codes to help solve this mystery. And for me, who was a math major and loves all things like patterns, this was a really good book for me when I was younger, and I still really enjoyed it now as an adult. So yeah, that one was good. And if you are participating in middle grade March, hope you're enjoying it. And lastly, the last book I finished in February was The Most Fun We Ever Had by Claire Lombardo. I mostly listened to this one on audio, but I did get the physical copy because it is my book club, in-person book club pick for, we're discussing it the first week of March. Or I guess the second week of March. Anyway, that doesn't matter. Doesn't matter to you guys. This one is about a couple who meets in like the 80s, the 90s, and we follow them in their journey as they have 4 daughters, and then we are like jumped forward in time to when these daughters are adults, and we look at the shit that happens in their lives. And man, I really love intergenerational family stories where we really delve into the characters and what is going on in their lives, because it just makes me happy that other people's lives are shitty too sometimes, and we get through it. We deal with it with the people that we surround ourselves with. The one quote I really loved from this was, "Everyone's life was just as fucked up as his was." And there are shitty things in our lives, and we have to live the lives that we are given, and sometimes crap happens, and that's just the way it is. But again, I think I really loved the character development in this one, and I definitely want to look for more family sagas, intergenerational stories like this. If you know of any more, please let me know. Anything that's similar to this, if you've read it, or just really great family stories where you delve into the characters' lives. I'm really excited for the discussion that I'm going to have with my friends on this one. So that's the last one I read in February. 10 books. It was a great reading month. Let me know down below if you have read any of these books, and if you agree or disagree with me on my rating. Oh, I didn't say that Chasing Vermeer gave 5 stars, and The Most Fun We Ever Had also gave 5 stars. So let me know down below if you agree or disagree with any of the ratings I gave, and why. And I hope that you are having a great day, week, whenever you're watching this. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.